One may wonder how racism and environmental pollution relate to one another. The answer to this is quite simple when we look at the demographics between polluted communities and the people living within these communities. This may be known as environmental racism and as described by the author of What is Critical Environmental Justice, David Pellow. Environmental racism is racial discrimination in environmental policymaking, the enforcement of regulations and laws, the deliberate targeting of communities of color for toxic waste facilities, the official sanctioning of life-threatening presence of poison and pollutants in our communities, and the history of excluding people of color from leadership of the ecology movements. These issues can have serious consequences, such as putting the residents living among highly polluted communities at risk for asthma or other respiratory issues, including cancer. A city that has issues with pollution from industrial sites, such as refineries, is Wilmington, California. The city is located just west of Long Beach and south of Carson. When taking a close look at the demographics of the city from the 2000 census, the average household income is estimated to be around $30,000. With this in mind, we are able to figure out that Wilmington is a low, working class community. Furthermore, Hispanics are the leading population with a population estimate of around 45,000 people. In addition to this, Laura Pulido mentioned in her Geographies of Race and Ethnicity 2, Environmental Racism, Racial Capital, and State-Sanctioned Violence article that there is a strong evidence to suggest discriminatory enforcement along racial lines, especially in Latino communities. I drove to Wilmington to see for myself issues between racism and environmental pollution, specifically air pollution. And it is true what they say. The refineries are located close to residential areas where it can greatly affect the community. In a Center for Health journalism article, Adam Mahoney mentioned that despite multi-billion-dollar industries in the neighborhood, including the largest port in North America and the third largest oil field in the country, people living in Wilmington, 20% of whom live in poverty, are expected to die years before other Los Angeles residents. Living in an area in which the air is highly polluted can have serious long-term consequences. The residents may suffer from asthma or even cancer. From the demographics, many are low income or live in complete poverty, which means they may not be able to afford health care or may struggle to find the help they need. It does not matter the social class or the race of the community, everyone should be entitled to fair treatment. Fair treatment, according to Pellow, means that no population, due to policy or economic disempowerment, is forced to bear a disproportionate share of the negative human health or environmental impacts of pollution or environmental consequences resulting from industrial, municipal, or commercial operations, or the execution of federal, state, local, and tribal programs and policies. While personally visiting the city of Wilmington, a strong odor is present in the air coming from the refineries close by. It was unpleasant, and this is what residents have to deal with on a daily basis. Not just pollution from the refineries, but also the port, which is located close by. Pollution is created from these ports through the ships and the diesel trucks coming in and out to carry the containers. It is not that these working class people want or decide to live in these communities, but in certain cases, they may not be able to afford to live anywhere else. A lady named Rosa was kind enough to tell me her input about the community and the air pollution surrounding it. And she mentioned how there are times she gets chest pains, and when she can, she continues to wear the face mask to reduce the smell coming from the industrial sites. Throughout the years, there has been resistance regarding the environmental injustices affecting not just the Wilmington community, but communities everywhere. The Clean Air Act sought to improve the environment, and in some ways it was effective. Pulido mentioned how there has been progress over the last 40 years, and it was documented that as air pollution declined, the lung functioning used improved. As activists and community members, it is important to recognize that we must make changes to our relationship with the state if we want to make a difference. Pulido discusses how the state is not invested in solving the environmental racism gap because it would be too costly, and it would disrupt the industry, the larger political system, and the state itself. After all, industries such as the refineries do help to generate money, and we live in a capitalistic society. It is important to inform fellow community members who may not be aware of the issues and how it affects them. Everyone nowadays is on social media, so an effective tool would be raising awareness regarding the destruction these industries are causing, not just for us, but for future generations.